Hello everyone, this is Nikki Rowland and I have a layout to share today for Simple Stories. I'm using the Simple Vintage Lakeside collection, which is super beautiful, full of beautiful, natural, lovely elements, and is just a joy to create with. So I have got a 6x4 photo. It's slightly smaller than 6x4, and I am mounting it inside one of the chipboard frames. I always really enjoy the chipboard frames by Simple Stories. They're just fabulous. They've got all like clusters and things on the sides. They're not just plain frames. They're lovely. Yeah, I've just added my photo into one of the frames, and then I'm going to layer up this frame with another frame as well from the pack. I actually go for a different one than what I was just using there. And I'm just going to work on my background for a moment. So I've pulled out one of the papers from the Simple Vintage Basics pack. I really love these papers. They are really great to use as backgrounds. They're basically solid colours, but they have a lovely printed texture effect on them, and they coordinate perfectly with the collection. So this is the Simple Vintage Lakeside Basics pack. Of course, it coordinates perfectly with the Lakeside collection. It's designed in that way. So I've pulled out one of those to use as my background. It's also nice to do something that's not on a white background, isn't it? So these are definitely my favourite things to use as backgrounds if I am not using white. So yeah. Okay, so I have trimmed that down quite a bit, about to 11¼ inches, I think, and then I've just stressed the edges quite significantly, and then I'm really folding them up. I've mounted it onto that lovely check paper, the green and the brown, and I have put it on slightly wonky. That's deliberate. You know, nothing in nature is perfect, is it? So I kind of figured that, you know, looking a bit rugged is okay. So I've got my chipboard frame. I have got my other chipboard frame layered underneath it. I'm going to add some paper there as well. So now basically it's just a case of building up the layout to create some clusters and to add lovely icons and ephemera either side of the photo. So I really struggled with the title. Now, I really wanted to use the word adventure, but it just didn't quite work. The colour wasn't right. It was the blue. If it had been green, it probably would have worked better. But also I had nowhere really to put it because I'd gone for this kind of cascade down to the bottom edge of the page. It was too long to fit before the angle comes right down, and it didn't quite look right at the top for some reason. So I have a go, and I'm just going to try and use it again, but I'm going to angle it so that it goes down following the angle of the black and white paper that I've just put underneath there. But that doesn't look right either. So in the end, I give up and I don't use it, which is a bit of a shame because Adventure would have been a great title for this layout. So in the end, I went for something slightly different. But you can see that I've given up on the title for the moment, and I've thought I'd just get on with something else, and then I would work it out afterwards. Sometimes when something's not working, I find that if I just step away from it, leave it for a moment, see how the layout progresses, then I can come back to that part that was causing me some difficulties, and usually by then it has worked itself out, and that's basically what happened today. Well, actually it doesn't, because I go and use the word adventure, and then I take it off the layer and peel off some of the background paper as well. So you'll see me do that in just a moment. Okay, so you can see me here adding the word adventure, thinking it's going to be okay, and then actually deciding no, it's just wrong. So I pulled that off, and oh no, I've made a big rip on my layout. So quickly put some ephemera over it. Actually, it's a foam sticker. That's the thing with scrapbooking. I always say there's no mistakes, only opportunities. So I wasn't necessarily going to cascade down all the way down to the bottom of this layout, but because I had to put something to cover up that boo-boo, it worked perfectly. So I've used a mushroom, it has a little banner that says love this. I'm going to add some other bits to that cluster as well and extend that right the way down to the bottom and have another little cluster at the bottom of the layout as well. So I hadn't actually planned to do that, although it is a design I love to do. Cascading layouts are definitely my go-to. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily planned. I had initially thought I could keep the whole lot clustered at the top. That would be a little bit different for me. But no, that ripped paper gave me an opportunity to go ahead and go with the whole cascade, and that is exactly what I've done. So I've added 2 little tickets in there. One says fresh air and sunshine, one says unplug and unwind. I'm adding some phrases to the top right of the photo. So I've got on lake time, explore your world, and let's stay lakeside. And then I'm going to just add that one there that says outdoors. So anything that is from bits and pieces packs, so whether that's bits and pieces or nature bits, usually I raise them on foam pads and distress the edges as well, because I like to have lots of texture and dimension on my layouts. I also like to have separation between the elements. So when I have like the edge of one of those banner labels, for example, or phrases, I would always distress the edges because it gives a slightly white edge, and that gives me a little bit of separation between the colour on the banner and the whatever it is sitting on. So I just like that, whereas ephemera, you have that white edge already. I could still quite often distress the edges of ephemera too, but I don't do it as often as I do if I'm using something that's a different colour. Okay, so you can see I've created a little cluster down the bottom there. I've got another mushroom with a leaf. That's from the bits, either the bits and pieces or the nature bits. Please don't test me on which ones come from which packets. I'm good, but I'm not that good. I've also added a little duck down there. I love the ducks in this collection. Great fun. I have now added my title. I've used 2 different fonts from the sticker book, so the Lakeside sticker book, and I'm just outlining that with a grey fine liner pen, just to make it stand out a little bit better. Those stickers are very flat. They don't have much dimension. Not quite often I would stick them onto some white card and raise them, but the white wouldn't have worked against this background, so that's why I decided not to do that. I could have chosen like a darker colour, but then you risk losing the effect, because then you're introducing another colour. I've already got 2 colours in my title, so it's white or nothing kind of thing, and white wouldn't have worked, so I've just put it directly onto the background and outlined in grey, and I think that did the job. Okay, so just adding some of the lovely decorative brads. I've added a few around the layout, and then using some of the chipboard pieces that come on the decorative brads as well. Handwriting in my journaling, just a few lines underneath that cluster there, and that's kind of it serves to connect the big cluster at the top with the little cluster at the bottom. It's not completely all the way down there's still a little tiny gap, but it definitely connects the 2 together, so it reads as one big cascade right the way down to the bottom now. So that's me done, apart from just going to add a few splatters of white paint over the top of all of the embellishments. I always love how that looks. So there we go. That is this layout complete using the Simple Vintage Lakeside collection. It's really, really beautiful. I love all the leaves and foliage and the ducks. So yeah, thank you very, very much for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed it. Make sure you check out that collection. That was Nikki Rowland for Simple Stories.